Love it or hate it, drag is everywhere. It has evolved from entertaining Shakespearean crowds to female impersonators, and now it's casual Saturday night viewing for millions. In the current political climate, drag is at the forefront of social discourse. But why is it so captivating? And what does it mean for the people behind the makeup? This is drag. Painted faces, powerful voices.
Fundamentally, right after the pandemic, on the news, on the press, the attitude towards drag were changing from a very beloved art form that it was in the 50s up until the 80s with people like Lily Savage and Dame Edna. Something had changed in the public opinion and in the press, so we thought that it was the time to act on the idea of having a drag exhibition because the art form was under attack, and we wanted to show the rich history and the heritage of this art form that has existed for centuries now. It was important to present this art form to maybe not just the people that are aficionados of the art form, but also to the people that maybe didn't have much knowledge about it. This is the first ever institutional museum collection-based exhibition about drag in the UK. So we wanted to make sure since the beginning that we did it right. We had quite a lot of visitors that came in. They asked for what exhibitions are on at the moment. And then we mentioned that upstairs there's an exhibition about drag that's very important because it's the first one of its kind in the UK. And often sort of the first reaction is, oh, no, that's not for me. Ooh, I don't know. And then normally the way we ease visitors in to come upstairs and see the exhibition is, oh, but what do you think drag is? Because, you know, drag is Shakespearean theatre, drag is Lily Savage and Daniel LaRue. But the moment that you make the link for them, then they run upstairs because they want to see the Daniel LaRue and Lily Savage gowns. We have feedback forms that we sort of leave in the exhibition that people can fill. And we had quite a few comments of people saying, oh, I thought this wasn't for me, I didn't know anything on the subject. And then sort of when they had to write down, what do you think about the exhibition? They write things like, oh, it's fabulous, it's so much fun, the music, the colors. So we had quite a few of those reactions. Very important for the exhibition was also charcuterie. Charcuterie is an Essex-born drag performer.
I love being able to be a very clear and bold visual representation of difference. The process of Char is pretty simple for me. Like I just throw a bunch of paint on. I don't feel like I'm in drag until I've got a lash on. For me, there's no real change. If anything, I'd argue that Char probably is nicer or more patient than I am out of drag. I like with Char to try and have an environment of everyone feeling welcome and everyone feeling like they're having a good time. I want people to feel like they're friends, which is not always the same thing out of drag. So yeah, for Char, it's about sort of putting my best foot forward as a person, but I don't feel like there's a huge character shift. I feel very much like myself in drag, just a slightly freer, slightly less inhibited version. I tend to think of myself as a drag performer as receiving abuse as collateral damage for an increase in anti-trans rhetoric. The difference between me and a trans person is this is performative. This is not who I am when I go home. This is not who I am when I go to the shops. And consequently, if my wearing of this makes me a bigger visual target than someone who's just trying to get by living as themselves, as the same person that they go to bed as, and the same person that they head to work as, I'm very fine with that. Because I can take this off and I can shed this, and I would never want someone to feel they have to shed their true identity or to minimize themselves for fear of repercussions from someone who doesn't understand. This can always go away for a while.
In 2018, Courtney Act, a drag queen, made headline news during her time on Big Brother when she educated her fellow housemates on the difference between her and transgender contestant India Willoughby.
I think the thing that she struggles with a little bit is that someone might see me and see her and think that we're the same thing.
Yeah, right.
And
obviously she's...
Their appearances on the show sparked a discourse, but it seems that the conversations still need to be had. Joanne Lockwood is an inclusion expert who is still having to educate people on the fact that she is not a drag queen, but rather a transgender woman.
So that confusion and crossover, yeah, and I think a lot of people's anti-trans rhetoric comes from the fact that there's a lack of understanding of the difference between expression, identity, cross-dressing, fetish, which everyone's entitled to do what they do. But it's when and I don't want to sound elitist, there's a danger of sounding elitist, but the lived experience of someone who transitions is completely different to somebody who does it for expression, does it for other reasons. So yeah, the stigma and discrimination may be matched. You know, there's still stigmas there, but the day-to-day challenges of going to Tesco's or having your car washed are different when you have the option, if you like, to how you present. When people talk about LGBTQ plus inclusion these days, they really mean trans, because and I'm not saying that LGBT people are wholly included and there's no discrimination, but largely the awareness is there, and I'm not decrying anybody's lived experience, but largely people are more interested in the TQ plus at the moment. And there was this panel and people talk about, it might be even me that asked the question, I can't remember now. So what are you doing to promote awareness amongst it was a housing association conference about your tenants, your residents, and also your staff, and potentially your service engineers and grounds people who could potentially be trans or interacting with trans people. What are you doing to create awareness? So, we do lots of great stuff with our LGBT people. We put on drag bingo and drag karaoke nights. It's like, I went, whoa. That's not trans culture. That's LGBT culture, if you like. That's gay culture. That's drag bars. That's RuPaul. And there was kind of like this defensiveness. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, you're missing the point here. Why would you assume we want to go to a drag bar? So I think there's this assumption that queer people want to go to queer places. Not my ultimate aim of transitioning wasn't to be having a 24/7 party. It was to be for life to become boring and ordinary as a woman.
I suppose the thing that I love most is it doesn't matter to me whether someone perceives Shah as male, female, non-binary, so long as they perceive them as like fun and or glamorous or camp, or it's those qualities I'm more concerned with than any sort of gendered association.
So important that stage exists. There was a need for this to happen. So in terms of like a permanent place for drag, there's like a thriving community here, and especially for the LGBT community. Colchester being it's like a barracks town. It's quite conservative on its front, so it seems really surprising that a place like this can exist. And it's no surprise really why people can feel so included and welcome when they're on the stage, because they are just such lovely people. They want you to have a good time. They want you to feel immersed and relaxed and just forget about life for an hour and a half. They want you to just feel like you're at home. And people have been able to come out and drag for the first time. It's about coming in and feel like you can be yourself. People don't like change. People don't like different. And we knew that there would be, at some point, whether that's just comments online or people being in the place, different is scary to some people. But a lot of these people just haven't experienced or seen or talked to like a drag queen, just taking the few minutes to know who they are and what they represent.
As a community, we all need to stand together, particularly in these times where they are quite trying. Queerness is something that really should be celebrated and brought into the limelight a lot more. My drag journey started, I would say, a few years back. I used to practice in face painting, and from face painting I started exploring some special effects, and then that led me to make the decision, let's try drag. And it's fantastic. It's lovely to have that creative expression.
I first started drag probably about 1.5 years ago with you. I kind of hid myself that I was gay, so I didn't want to be involved in the drag community really.
Yeah.
But now I fully embrace it, fully embrace myself and the whole community, and I love it. In drag, I show my full feminine side. Like, I like to say that I'm like a little Bratz doll or a Monster High doll. And it's so much fun to be someone different. You put on a mask.
When I get into drag, it allows you that armour in a way that I can be a little bit rude, I can be a little bit nonchalant, I can use my wit and insult someone, making it comedic where needed, which is something I probably wouldn't do outside of drag. I don't like to upset people, but in drag I can make it comedic. It gives me that strength that it's not Sheldon performing, rather it's Boo. Recently I came out as queer, gender fluid queer, and that's allowed a lot more expression with my drag as well. So now it's more, yeah, me just being a bit of an idiot on stage, which I love. Drag, to me, essentially is a way of my inner child, that little gay boy that sits within me somewhere, of him being able to actually live his life and live how he never thought he would be able to.
Drag, to me, is like my little release. Coming out and starting drag, it just made me feel more whole.
It's about coming in and feel like you can be yourself.
Drag is sort of magic. Drag is permission to play. It's caricature. It's exploration and avoidance of self at the same time, if you want it to be. I think it's something anyone can do. Everyone should do at least once.
Drag has been around for longer than other art forms that are really, really ancient. Drag was there before. Drag has always been here. Drag was sort of not going anywhere. Will always be here.